I'm Chris Tuck, a financial advisor, CFP, with a passion for educating my clients about investing. My father-in-law, Scott Kleiman, founded the practice, and together with my wife, Lindsay, and amazing staff, we are making a place to feel more at home with investing. This is Advisors in Cars Getting Coffee. Today, I'm picking up Scott, the other half of the portfolio management team, and we're going to be driving in Lindsay's new 2018 black-on-black Acura. Hey.
Hey, Chris.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Where are we going today?
We're going to get some coffee. Go to Nonno's, our favorite spot up in Doylestown.
Coffee and pastries. Let's go. Wow. This is it's
Like
a really nice car.
Yeah, this is Lindsay's new Acura.
Right?
It's got a movie in the back if you'd like to watch some Daniel Tiger.
Oh, my favorite. Wow, look at that.
Lots of space for car seats.
Car seats for like 2 kids. Looks like it could drive itself. It just have good miles per gallon because it's new.
Oh, really?
No?
Well, it's 290 horsepower, so it'll go if you want it to go.
You do have sport mode, so we could fly through Doylestown and get a $10 ticket. We don't want to do that today. Hey, what's this have? Google Maps?
Google Maps, Waze, it's got it all. Hooks right up to your iPhone.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
This is really nice.
We actually, all the way back from Philly, I let it do the lane control and the auto cruise control, and we went around the entire Conshohocken curve, no hands on the wheel. Pretty cool. Just getting around these little streets of Doylestown.
Do you think your car knew you were turning?
It turned for me.
Yeah, I wonder if it knew you were turning before you turned.
Hopefully,
I think that's next.
It can find us a parking spot.
Here's a good spot. Watch this. You could put money in ours too if you want.
So I want to talk to you a little bit today about managing other people's money. You've been doing that for a long time. You a little bit longer than me, and I just think it's a really interesting thing managing other people's money versus your own. And I find that when you're managing other people's money, it's very disciplined, systematic, and when it's your own money, there's a lot of emotion involved. So I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because when you manage your own money, there's a lot of emotion that gets in the way, and you could make really bad decisions, as you know.
Right.
But when you're managing your client's money, there's a higher sense of responsibility, and you really have to be careful with emotion, and you have to evaluate everything you're doing in a different way.
Yeah, and one of the things that we do is really a labor of love at the practice is building portfolios. We spend a lot of time just working on portfolios, building portfolios. That's just so different than what other advisors are doing that we see in the industry.
No, you're right, Chris. What we see in the industry is set it and forget it. A lot of guys in the industry or women in the industry, they're just putting clients in mutual funds and not really paying as much attention to the portfolio like we do, as you know. We put a lot of work, we do a lot of the heavy lifting with our portfolios, and we build our custom portfolios for clients.
Yeah, I mean, we see so many layers now of jobbing the work out, right? Bringing in all these different companies to pick asset classes, pick the mutual funds, whatever they're going to be in. There's just so many layers of fees. One of the things that drew me to the practice years ago was the fact that we buy individual stocks and build portfolios on them. And that's so different from what we're seeing in the industry.
Right. No, you're right. You know what I always say.
Yeah.
Wealth is created in stock. So, as you know, we do homework. We do a lot of homework. That's the key to really building a portfolio. We really check our positions out. Many different tools that we use, as you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, we have very defined roles when it comes to portfolio management team. I'm kind of the technical analysis guy, and it's kind of this blend of old school and new school, looking at charts. To me, a chart tells a whole picture of the story of the stock and kind of where it's been and maybe where it's going to go, and looking at trend lines, different volume indicators.
Right.
And I really bring that expertise. That's really my passion.
Right.
And then you blend in the fundamental side.
Right, you're right. With me on the fundamental side, I like looking at liabilities, growth of the company, the management team, I like looking at what's changed with the company.
Right.
Is there any product enhancements? Are there any new products that come out? And one of the big things, as you know, are threats to the company.
Yeah.
And we call them moats.
Moat?
A moat.
Right. Like with crocodiles?
Like with crocodiles. So the more water around the company or a moat, or the more crocodiles around the company, the harder it is for a company to duplicate them, to take their business away. And that's a big part of fundamental analysis as well.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about our portfolio meetings. They can get a little bit heated.
They can.
You know, sometimes I find a stock that I think looks great technically, and maybe you don't think it looks so good fundamentally. And then sometimes the other's true. You find a really good fundamental story, but I think the technicals look horrible. What do we do?
Yeah, no, you're right, Chris. Sometimes our portfolio management meetings are really heated. Even in the office sometimes they say, let's close the door. But they're heated for a good reason. They're heated because we have passion. And they're not heated from an argument standpoint.
Right.
We're not arguing about anything.
Even though it sounds like it sometimes.
It does. But we're looking at it fundamentally and technically.
Right.
And sometimes we have differences of opinion, and they then have to meet somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
And you always say, I mean, if both of us have the same opinion, then one of us isn't needed.
That's right.
So I think it's important for us to kind of play devil's advocate, or really fight our viewpoint.
Right.
And the blend of that, we end up coming up with some really good ideas.
We do.
So not every investment is this long-term investment. Sometimes we have trades. So if we find something that maybe just looks good technically and maybe not as great fundamentally, or vice versa, good fundamental story but the technicals aren't great, we'll give that a short leash. That'll be more of a trade. That could change. Right. But then when we find that sweet spot where everything's kind of lining up, we're finding good fundamentals, good technicals, those tend to be our longer term investments. And we give those a longer leash and allow them to kind of move. Whereas with the trades, we give them a real short leash. If they're not going in our favor, we'll try and get out of those a lot sooner.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. And actually, like, if we take it to a client meeting, when we're in a client meeting, sometimes it's hard for a client to understand that philosophy. So something that I think is really good for our clients to understand it, as you know, is our forest and tree analogy.
Right.
So we look at our overall portfolio, all of our positions as the forest. Sometimes the forest in general is doing really well. Sometimes we have to go in to a certain position, which we call a tree, and maybe it bears a lot of good fruit, and we clip it sometimes, take some profits. Sometimes one of the trees is not growing real well, and we have to go in and we have to cut that tree down and eliminate it from the portfolio.
Yeah.
I think clients relate to that analogy, and that's what we actually follow.
Yeah, I mean, our logo has the trees in it. On our website, it's all trees, and it's all about that analogy and kind of the path through the tree. And I also there's some other kind of phrases that go along with that analogy of, trees don't grow to the sky. Right? So at a certain point, they're going to stop growing, and you have to be cognizant of that. And also the analogy of looking at the forest through the trees, taking a step back and realizing this much bigger thing. Also a really important part of that analogy is that a forest is so many trees, and we really look at the portfolio that way, of being diversified and not just planting one seed, but planting lots of seeds and then letting them grow and seeing what's not doing well, letting what is doing well continue to grow.
Right.
And sometimes we see a lot of over diversification.
Oh yeah, you see over diversification in the industry galore.
Yeah.
When you're in mutual funds in general, sometimes you just have so many positions, it's hard to really get ahead.
Right.
Now, the way we design our portfolios that are mainly stock-based, if it's appropriate for our client, we can really have a smaller diversification in a sense, but be in all different sectors where we need to be.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of academic research that goes into kind of over diversification and that rule of diminishing numbers.
Right.
Really,
tell me about that a little bit.
Past about 30 positions,
right? That
benefit of diversification really starts to fall off. So once you're adding position 100 to the portfolio, or position 1,000, however far you want to go, those little increments really aren't doing much for diversification. So we try and keep our portfolios in that 30 position range. I think that's about right. So another way that we hedge or diversify is we use hedges in the portfolio. You know, we add things to change kind of the risk characteristics.
Yeah, you're right, Chris, and that's a really important part of our portfolio management. So from a hedging point of view, we'll buy bonds, we'll have cash as a hedge position, because sometimes cash is king, and then commodities if it's appropriate. But as you know, each portfolio or each client's needs are specific and different.
Right, so it's not just age-based, there's
No.
other criteria.
No, yeah, I mean, it depends on, do they need cash for any reason? Or there's many client needs that are different. They're all different, so we adjust appropriately.
Right. Now that half of my thing's gone, we got a lot of work to do. Let's get out of here.
Let's get going.